Hey, this is Sebastian from the Metal Gods Meltdown. Today I have the pleasure to be joined by...
I am Amy Gould of Eden on Fire.
It's great to be chatting to you this evening. Can you tell us a little bit about Eden on Fire, your influences, and what keeps you inspired?
So Eden on Fire is a symphonic melodic metal band. We're out of Erie, Pennsylvania, in the States. We are kind of in a weird genre. We don't fit squarely into the symphonic or squarely into the melodic. We're kind of in between. We have a real heavy 80s influence sound in our band, although it's a new modern spin. So nobody's really been able to pigeonhole us really very well, but that's where we fit. The band started out with me in my home studio during the pandemic. Back in 2020, I was sitting at my piano and I started cranking out all these tunes, and eventually then went and found the rest of the members. We've had a couple of changes here and there in the band since then, but my lyrics and even the music itself as I was writing it was inspired by a long time off from being in music. I was doing classical stuff, but I wasn't doing any rock anymore. I'd been in a really bad marriage. And so I had just gotten out of that, and then the pandemic hit. So it gave me a lot of time to reflect and write a lot of tunes. So that was sort of the inspiration for a lot of the music that's on our album, was stuff that was happening to me retrospectively, excuse me, and then some things that I ran into after the fact. So my lyrics are all 100% real. I don't sing about fantasy stuff. Everything's really something that I've experienced. It's usually something that pisses me off. So.
Yeah, like Wake the Monster, that's a killer track, and that's really got my attention on YouTube. I mean, I get sent albums daily of PRs and that, and just sometimes just like kick back and I'll go on YouTube and just like something will come up in my feed, and that's how I discovered you. And it's like, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Good to hear that.
Can you tell me a bit about your Amy Oki? I love that. I love it, man.
We're looking for a way to, to interact with the fans that wasn't just, here, come see us here, vote for us in this competition here. So I thought I'd do something kind of fun. I said, I don't know what I got myself into. I'm getting myself in over my head here, but we just thought it would be kind of a fun idea for people to, fans and whoever, to kind of just throw out songs to me and see if I can do them. So that's kind of what it started. So we've had 2 weeks of it so far. This will be week number 3. So I have no idea what I'm singing yet, but I'll know by Friday.
Okay, so that's cool. So it's only 2 or 3 weeks. That's major. Yeah. So have you done any Skid Row, anything like, I don't know, You've Gone Wild, something like that?
I have not done those in the karaoke so far. Somebody requested Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah,
and then that's wanted a Benatar tune. So I did a Pat Benatar tune. Nobody gave me a specific, so I picked my favorite. So I don't know what's coming. I've had some people say Lita Ford this week. And I've seen a couple of other things. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were, so I'm going to have to go investigate. Of course, it's easier if it's a song I already know, but there's been some thrown at me that I'm like, I'm going to have to go listen to that song because I don't know it. It's not my genre usually. So.
Right. Okay, yeah, I saw the Phantom of the Opera. That was really impressive, actually. Yeah, I love that. Very good. Okay, so what about plans for, is there an EP coming out this year, an album, singles? What's happening?
So we're a little bit behind right now because we had back in the end of the year, after we released our first album, which was this past November, I had like a mass exodus. 2 of the band members left. So when that happened, I had to kind of re-scramble and find new people. So they've been kind of playing catch up, just getting, with the album material. But we also have enough right now for an EP of new songs. Ooh. But the band is actually still kind of catching up on those. So we hope to go into the studio at the end of the summer to start laying down some of that. Probably we'll see singles before we do an EP or an LP again. But we do like releasing full LPs. So probably what we'll do is some singles and then an LP eventually. But hopefully in the coming year here, you'll start to see some more singles coming out of us with new people.
Cool, because I mean, singles seem to be the way to go these days, don't they? Because of people's attention span, yeah?
Yeah, for real.
And I was quite impressed as well to see some of your band members, actually, with Wake the Monster. Are some of those band members left, or are they still the same?
Yes, no, those are different band members. We had a guitar player and a drummer who left, and so they were replaced at the beginning of the year. I would like to say that, I had really great members prior to that, but now I've even kicked it up a notch. So the guys that I'm working with now are like incredible. So I'm really excited to start recording with them and getting that out there for the public to hear. We do have some live footage, but of course the sound quality on those is never great, but
it's never great. But I was quite impressed to see like some of the live footage I've seen. You've got older guys in the band like my age and that, so that's always good to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where that 80s influence is coming from, the ages in the band. Same with the videos. Like, we decided to do like sort of 80s style videos with our music, which I think is fun. So
yeah, totally. Are there any themes or messages you like to put out through your music? I mean, want to convey? Do you go down a political route? I mean, do you think that'll happen?
No, we don't get into politics. I mean, I try to stay out of my personal views in the band. It's kind of, suicide for your band. If you start taking one side, you're going to lose a whole nother one. So, I mean, I do have my own convictions, but mostly what I write about, there have been some things that angered me, but in politics, but I try to stay away from all that. Mostly what I write about is actual relationships with people. So it's not always romantic relationships. Sometimes it's somebody, who's upset me. There's been some drama in our local music scene. So a couple of the newer songs we have are kind of about that. It's usually about me getting like heated up about something and sitting down and wanting to write about it, or retrospectively writing about some of the stuff that I went through, which is what a lot of that album was. So Wake the Monster actually though is about me being triggered after being I was in an abusive relationship. So I have PTSD from that. And so it's kind of the whole idea of like, be careful because what you say and do can trigger me and I become nuts. I don't fight, I fight. So
that's
she's adorable.
Do you like to make an appearance?
She kind of looks like mine, only mine's about 5,000 times bigger because she's fat.
This one's a little devil, aren't you? And I mean, you just started to get in on the interviews. I've done an interview job for a cowboy, and she's just like, we've ended up talking about cats most of the interview. It's just like,
oh yeah,
she just likes to make an appearance, don't you? But yeah,
adorable.
Right. Okay. How do you handle then? I mean, you sort of said like you've hinted a bit about where you're from. There's drama, but there's always drama, isn't there, in the music scene? Definitely.
Yeah, sure.
But how do you handle criticism then, or comparisons to other bands in the scene? And I mean, of course, being a female vocalist as well can never be like easier than it was back in the day.
Yeah. So I haven't really had any trouble with it's mostly the females and the females here that are having a problem with each other, which is insane to me. But, criticism, depending on what it is, constructive criticism, I'm all about. Because if somebody has something that is constructive, I take it or at least listen to it and try to make changes if possible, if it's something that, really needs to change. The criticism of just the mean girl stuff and all that, I'm done with it. It bothered me for some time when we were new here because we were trying to get our foot in the door, and I'm not a local to Erie originally, so I was the outsider coming in. So that was a little rough for a while. Found out who some false friends were, things like that. But after that, it just became sort of if you don't feed it, it has less fuel to be, keep going. So we've just kind of distanced ourselves from that in the band, and we're on a mission. So we just focus and let them talk, let them do whatever they want to do.
Because you have got a quite good sort of Facebook following, and obviously you got followers on YouTube and that. Where would you like to see your band in 5 years' time?
Oh gosh, I would love to be playing stadium shows. We want to go to Wacken.
Yeah, totally.
I want to do it all. After I had taken all this time off and then got back into the scene again, this is the first band I've ever been with that's gotten as far as we've gotten. And every time we get a little further, I'm like, wow, this is a bonus. So, I said, when I first put the band together, I said, guys, this is my goal. I want to take this all the way. But right now, my goal is to get signed. And then we got signed in like a year. And so I was like, wow, okay, everything else up to there, this is just kind of like, icing on the cake. So.
So which label are you signed to at the minute?
We are with a small independent label outside of Pittsburgh called DI Records, Devil Inside Records.
Okay.
They're distribution only. So we kind of jumped on it quickly because we really had nothing to lose. They were going to help us distribute our digital music. And, you know, we don't make any money off of streaming as it is. So we weren't real worried about doing anything there. Right? Exactly. So it's been great, you know, that we've been able to do that. And eventually we're probably going to look at bigger labels. But right now, again, my focus has been trying to get the new guys caught up to speed, and then we're going to move on from there.
What is your fan base like then? Do you have a lot of fans outside of the States?
So we're building a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a whole lot. I mean, but it's hard for me to know exactly who else watching us. When I look at the statistics, you know, we do have people almost on, well, we have people on every continent right now.
Yeah.
And, which I thought blew my mind when I started seeing Africa and stuff like that. I'm like, oh,
India.
Yeah, we do. We have India
it's crazy,
and China.
Yeah.
And like, it was kind of wild. I started seeing some of that. Now, of course, we could be using proxies on the internet for all I know, but it looks like we have people all over. So that was really cool. But I have had people from the UK reach out to me wanting to know how they could buy our album. And I'm like, oh boy, you know, digitally I can help you, but you know, a CD, I'm not sure how to get you that you would really want to pay for that. Right
no, it's so fucking expensive. Seriously. Yeah. Honestly, it's insane. I can't. Before you go onto a stage, and what's the first? What do you have like a ritual before you go on stage with your band, or do you just like head out? Do you have a JD or something? What do you do?
No, I don't drink at all before I play. I play keyboards in the band, and I noticed early on back in the day when I was sitting in my home studio playing, if I love wine, so I'll have a glass of wine on my piano, and then like about a glass in, like my hand-eye coordination was not as good. So, I definitely don't drink any alcohol before I go on stage. But the ritual really for the band right now, we get together and I don't do anything special. I'm one of those like rad singers. I don't like, make sure that I steam and, do all the things. I just kind of get out there and do it. But we do go on stage and we do a little powwow fist bump before we go on stage, which is cool. Just to kind of rev ourselves up and but yeah, so far that's been a really good thing. That was new to this new lineup that we had. I really want a family feel in the band. So I want everybody to feel like this isn't just a job. This is a family,
Like media airplay or anything with local radio stations, anything like that?
We have actually, we're on several different radio stations, community type radio stations, because it's almost impossible to get on any of the big iHeart type things these days. But we are being played on a radio station out of Corey, Pennsylvania, which isn't too far from Erie here. We actually had songs in the last 2 years hit in the top. They have like the top 98 every New Year's. And we got number 6 the first year with Fallen. And that was like amazing to me because it was songs from everywhere. Like, I mean, Metallica was in there. And we beat Metallica that year. I was like, oh my God.
That's impressive. Yeah.
And then last year we got like number 52 for our song Love Bomb out of the 98. So I'm just thrilled that we're making the countdown, so that's pretty cool. And we're played on a radio station down in Butler, Pennsylvania. I think we've got an airplay over in an Ohio station going on. And then lots of online radio. We also have a local radio station here that is an iHeart Radio, so it's impossible to get our music in rotation, but we've gone on the radio show a couple times and performed live, which was cool.
That's really cool, yeah. Okay. So when you have been playing live, I mean, really not been going that long though, have you, when you think about it, coming out of COVID and that. What would you say has been the most memorable show then so far for you?
We just played... We did it last year, but even this year was even better. We opened for a Metallica tribute band here in Erie called the Four Horsemen. They're pretty well known. And that was just great. I mean, first of all, the genres fit together very well. And so the crowd likes us. And so we played, there was about 600 and some people in the audience, which was great. So those are the best shows. You have the biggest amount of energy when you have those big crowds like that. Not too big that you can't, you can still see their faces, but big enough to feel that energy coming off of them. So that was great.
That's cool. So have you had any like disasters, like where you've turned up to play a gig and there's been like 10 people in there and a man with a dog?
Yeah, we played to bartenders one night over in the Cleveland area. It was another band locally here who had lined up this show and asked us to be part of it, and they made us the headliner. And so we went over there, and unfortunately, normally this place, I guess, is pretty busy, but in the summer, it's not so much because of the outdoor venues. So we didn't know that going in. And it was an upstairs, downstairs bar situation. So the downstairs bar was no cover. Upstairs was $10 to get in. So people were like, yeah, I'm not going upstairs. So yeah, so we were playing to like nobody. So I saw that was starting to happen with the band before us. And I thought, you know what? So I talked to everybody. I said, you guys okay with us waving the cover so we can get some people in there? They're like, yeah, sure. So we went down and told everybody, hey, no cover if you want to come up and see a band. So we got a couple people up there, but there wasn't even a lot of people in the downstairs part to begin with. So it was a rough one, but I look at those as opportunities to practice our performance. So
Exactly, yeah.
Those are the hardest shows you can ever do, is playing to nobody. And if you can put on a good show playing to nobody, you're golden when you get in front of 600 people.
Of course you are, totally. All right. So what was the last song you listened to today?
Oh, listen to today. Gosh.
It's just early morning over there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is early morning, yeah. So I'm thinking, I don't know that I've played anything yet today. I usually put my music on in the shower, but today I was rushing around, so I don't even think I did. What was I could tell you maybe what I was listening to in the evening last
night. Yeah.
Let me think about that. What was the last thing I listened to? I listened to a lot of music. I have a playlist on my phone of like 600 songs, and almost all female fronted because that's how I roll.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
I believe it was a New Year's Day tune was the last thing that I was listening to.
Oh, so cool. Okay. All right. And so talk about female artists then. Is there a female singer that you'd love to do some work with, like a duo?
I mean, there's a lot of people out there that I would love to work with, but my ultimate idol is Pat Benatar. So if she asked me to do something or let me open up for her, I would be jumping on that in a minute.
Okay. Pat Benatar has been coming like on my radar a lot recently. A few people have been chatting about her. There's like a German band have just released a cover of hers. I can't think what the song's called for the life of me. But yeah, Pat Benatar's like being mentioned a lot recently. What that's all about.
She's touring again. We actually just went and saw her. She came to Erie, and and now it's Benatar or Geraldo. Now they label themselves, but they were fantastic. I mean, she puts on one hell of a performance.
That's really so cool. Because like when I was growing up, I mean, we had Letitia Ford, Pat Benatar, Lee Aaron, and that was about it really. Oh, and Dora, of course. That was about it really. And now it's like a massive explosion, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
it really is good to see. Actually, I'm a big fan of Seven Spires, and Tabatha the Cat had a major like role in that interview. So like they were loving the cat, and it was such a cool interview. But yeah, big fan of theirs. Okay, so can you then tell me what would be your ultimate bands to go out and tour with? 2 bands that.
If I could pick a couple of bands to go on tour with, well, let's see. Well, I mean, Metallica would be the
Metallica
ultimate.
Back in the day or Metallica now?
Either or. I've watched them progress, and I know there's a lot of people that are like purists, and they're like, oh, everything before the Black Album, but I actually like the Black Album too, so I like them in general. So yeah, that would be awesome. But in terms of like female bands, like maybe Within Temptation, Sharon's amazing. That's one of the bands that kind of inspired me to head in this direction with the symphonic stuff. So. Okay, so I'm going to date myself on some of these. One of my favorite albums from childhood is Rio from Duran Duran. Okay. I know that's not metal, but I was a kid that listened to everything. So probably country's about the only thing that I never got into. I would say I actually really liked the Metallica Black album. I'm going to get a lot of
Nothing wrong with that.
that's one that I really liked.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good. I like music that's accessible, and I feel like that album was really accessible.
Totally.
And then probably it's going to be a Benatar album, and this one I don't know if this counts, but she had live from Planet Earth, I believe it was called, and it had like it was a live show. It was amazing. She did like her whole repertoire, and that was I think back in the I want to say late 80s that album came out, but it was great. It just had everything on it, and she's amazing live, so it sounded great.
And going back to Duran Duran, I mean, they had the haters in the 80s and that, but when you look back, they were fantastic. And the live album they released, Arena, oh my
Yeah,
God,
that was. Oh
that's
yeah,
such a good album.
I
Really
was a
is.
big Duran Duran fan, so I never understood the hate for them either because
No.
musicianship wise, they were amazing,
Oh, yeah,
and their music was a little different than what everybody else was doing, and I thought
of
it was like
course.
deeper lyrics and just a little bit over the
Yeah,
top compared to everybody else.
totally. Yeah, I've never been a Duran Duran hater. I've always thought they were like mega talented and mega up there. Totally. All
I mean,
right.
John Taylor is probably one of the best bass players I've
Abs-
heard.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah. So, yeah. Okay, then. So, is there a Duran Duran song you'd love to do a cover of then?
Oh wow, I hadn't really thought about that one too hard. Probably um, like "Hungry Like the Wolf," I think would be a good one.
That would go down well, yeah. That would do. I love Save a Prayer actually, but yeah, Hungry
Oh,
Like
that's my favorite, actually. That is my
yeah.
absolute, that's my favorite song of all time, actually.
Is it? Right, yeah.
Yeah, that song just hits me in the feels every time I listen to it. It's a
Yeah.
good song.
Yeah. Just said mentioning it, yeah, just thinking about it just gives me chills. Yeah. I love that
Yeah,
song. It is a good
yeah,
song, it
it's
really
good.
is. My favourite of all time is You've Gone Wild, Skid Row, because
Oh, I love that one too. That's a good one.
when that was released, I was going through it, man. Totally.
Yeah.
I was a teenager back in those days. Right. Okay. So if you could have a jam session then with three musicians, dead or alive, who would you choose?
That are alive.
Dead
So
or alive, yeah.
Pat Benatar for
Of
sure.
course.
Um, the other ones, let's see. Right now, I don't want to do with all singers because that would be crazy. We'd all just be singing over top of each other, right? So
Yeah.
probably I might grab Neil Giraldo from Pat and bring it
Okay.
the couple there because he's an amazing guitar player. And I probably should have a drummer or a bassist. But yeah, maybe like John Taylor as bass player. He's really good. So there you go. I'm sticking in the 80s here.
Totally. It's good. It's good. Okay. What are the three essentials to take on tour with you then?
So I have to make sure, I have all my makeup. This is a work.
Right.
So that we haven't actually done a big tour yet. We've been doing mini tours, but I make sure that I have water because I don't drink as much as I should, but if I don't drink water before I sing, that's a no-no. I will be raspier than I want to be.
Right.
um, and I would say, well, all my gear that has to go. But I don't have anything like weird that I have to take along with me at this point. I have a candy fish problem, so if they're there, I'm not going to complain.
Right. Okay. That's good. So if you could choose three countries to go out on tour, where would you go?
Well, I would definitely come over to you guys in the UK,
Right.
Germany, and my own country, US.
I know the answer to this already. Which musician, dead or alive, would you have with you for a 24-hour road trip?
Oh yeah, well, have it. It's our
That Benatar, of course.
Yeah, I would love to pick her brain for 24 hours.
Excellent. If there's a song about your personality, what would it be called? Like a made-up song?
Oh, made up song would be called gosh, a Cyndi Lauper one came to mind automatically, her album title. My personality's all over the place. Probably something like her bark is worse than her bite.
Cool. Great answer. Um, what's the one thing about your band or yourself that fans wouldn't know?
Hmm. Not myself. Um, I played flute in my high school marching band.
Did you?
Yes, I did. When I was
Yes.
up until the later years in high school, but in early high school, I did.
Cool.
About the band itself, let me think about that. I don't know if there's anything crazy about the band that people don't already know. Again, we've had a changeover in our one thing they might not know is I brought our drummer out of retirement to come play with us.
Did you?
So
Okay.
Steve Travaggi, he was in retirement from playing. He had put his drums away. He hadn't played in like 6 years. And
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
I said, hey, I want you in the band. And he's like, okay, I'll dust him off and see what I can do. And he's an amazing drummer. So I'm glad he came back.
So is he enjoying it as well, then being back? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you prefer classic album art or modern digital visuals?
So classic art, there's so much controversy over the AI. I mean, we're all using it for something,
Mm,
especially when you're an original band that has like no budget, what are you going to
yeah, I
do?
understand that. Yeah.
I can't go out to an artist and commission work all the time. I did have somebody do our album art for us. I had an artist, a graphics artist do that for us. And he also did our logo.
Sweet.
um, but yeah, in terms of you start to see a pattern with the AI. It all kind of looks alike, so you can almost differentiate the two. So I do prefer somebody else's creativity over that if I can afford it.
Of course. So you got tattoos. Are you going to get an Eden on fire tattoo? Like, I don't know, like
I
little.
want to actually. I only have the two tattoos right now. I'm backwards.
Right.
I got this one first. This was my freedom tattoo.
Cool.
Again with the last ex, he was like, "You can't get tattoos," and so then I got this one because I'm a crazy cat lady, and I really
Yeah.
like the snow leopard. So, but yeah, I actually wanted to get one, and I'm kind of glad I waited. I held off because we changed our logo,
Oh,
so
fair enough. Yeah.
the new logo now. So yeah, I do want a on fire tattoo.
Would you like to be able to stop time or rewind time?
Some of me wanting to rewind time because I lost a lot of years out of the music scene. I feel like I lost a lot of years of like my adulthood, really, that I
Mm.
would love to get back and relive them in the way that I wanted to. But that said, probably I wouldn't do it even if I could because it's made me who I am today. And also, the songs that I do are inspired by a lot of the things that I've gone through. I don't know what I'd be writing about. It would be different, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a toss up. I don't think
Yeah.
I'd stop time though.
Especially when I get albums sent through from PRs. And when it's all about the fantasy shit, and I'm like, I grew up with that in the 80s and it was fun back then. But like now it's more, I find it more inspirational for myself as a listener. Listens to bands that are going to give you like hope and a bit of fucking get up and go. Yeah. And that's what
Yeah,
I loved
yeah.
about your song. See, I'm getting there.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
getting
you.
there. That's what
We've
I love
had
about your
feedback that
song,
I
about
didn't.
Wait the Monster. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've gotten some feedback that I didn't expect when we first released our first single. It was Fallen, which is our only ballad. And I was a little worried about releasing that first because I didn't want people to think we were, completely on the lighter side of everything. But it's a power ballad. But we had a radio station, the one that I was telling you about, we've placed in their top
Mm-hmm.
98, reach out to us and saying, please tell us that you have this song available for us to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh boy, we can make that happen because we were already in the process of doing the album. So we made that our first single. It was a little scary, but when it came out, people were like reaching out to me and saying, oh my gosh, I relate so hard to this song. And this song has so much meaning for me. And it reminds
Mm-hmm.
me of this, it reminds me of that, in my life. And I was like, whoa, I was
Yeah,
unexpected because this was just my personal getting my stuff out there,
of course.
So it's awesome to hear that people relate to the music. I
Exactly.
don't relate too hard to follow because it's a really dark song, but glad that it gave them sort of that feeling of they're not alone.
Exactly. I know what you mean. If your music were a movie, what genre would it be?
yeah, like genre in terms of the movie itself. What kind of movie would it be? I think it would
yeah.
Probably a made for Lifetime Network show. There's been so much drama in my life over the years. It's like I would make a good soap opera. Yeah. Soundtrack wise, definitely it would be metal stuff that's inspiring, because I feel like I've come out on the other side every time. Even though I've been through a lot of things, I always seem to come out on the other side of it stronger and more determined, maybe.
And fighting, yeah, totally, yeah. Can you tell us why we should check out Eden on Fire?
You should check us out, because I think you will find that our music is very unique, yet is going to give you feelings from the 80s and from today. And everybody in the band is a solid musician, and I think we write good tunes.
Totally, I couldn't agree more. With final words for your fans, our viewers and listeners.
Check us out on all the socials. We're on Facebook, Eden on Fire Metal Band. We're on Instagram, Eden on Fire Band. You can find everything there on our website. It's edenonfire.com, and you can find links to our online merch, as well as all the other socials that we have available, and our tunes are there as well, so check us out.
Seething rage inside of me, only get what I let you see. Better off if you'd let me be. Don't wake the monster, lurking creature just below the surface where you did not